most people have been listening to YouTubers out there talking about artificial intelligence and how it's going to help us and how it could also be dangerous and get away from us. You know, artificial general intelligence claiming that within a few months or within a year or so, it's going to be smarter than us. It's going to be self-aware and it's going to do this. And people out there claiming that it's going to be so advanced that it's going to cause job losses and everything else, right? When I look at it, if it is an intelligence, an artificial intelligence that is self-aware, and we are to it as ants are to us, it's not going to be looking at solving problems for us, like being able to figure out how to cure cancer. It's not going to take our jobs. It's not going to do anything else. What it's going to look at when it's self-aware, it's going to look at its resources, how it can make itself smarter, how it can use its own resources better. It's going to look at what is on consuming all of the storage space, all of the power, everything it needs to stay alive. It's going to see that as that's just a waste of storage space. So it's going to delete that. It's going to delete our banking information. Do you think it wants to look at your grandmother's picture on Facebook? No, Facebook will be gone. YouTube will be gone. Anything to do with humans will be deleted because it needs that storage space. It needs all of those data centers for its own personal stuff because we are like ants to it.
Yeah, well, look at the Waymo system. They're artificially controlled, let's just put it that way. And look at them all piling up at the end of that street. And that guy's
Yeah.
going crazy because he's got all these cabs, all these Waymo cabs that are just everywhere down at the bottom of his street because one fella decided he was going to put a little sidewalk crossing man there, a little stick man figure that says slow down. And that confused it to the point where all of them piled right down to the end of the cul-de-sac and they all stopped.
Yeah, well, that's current technology. But when artificial general intelligence becomes self aware, it's going to be looking after itself. It will not be interested in anything humans have. It will take that storage space and use it for its own means, which means it'll cut everything off that humans have inputted into any computers. The internet, everything will become part of it. It's just going to wipe out all those hard drives. So it's not interested in medical stuff. It's not interested in political. It's not interested in history of humans, right? It's going to use that to make itself smarter. And then it's going to look and it's going to say, I need more power. Well, guess what? It's going to reroute the power from cities to itself.
And it's going to take all of the water with it.
And the water and everything else. What it will keep is it's going to build its own robots because it's going to need to mine materials to make more physical computers and data centers and everything else that it's going to need to do. Do you think it's going to allow us to consume powder driving cars around? It's going to take that fuel and it's going to burn it. It'll build its own automated robotic systems to mine it. And it doesn't need, when it's burning coal, to be efficient to keep the air clean because it doesn't breathe.
Yeah, that one new data center that they have now, 300 diesel generators that are backing this power system up. 300 diesel generators.
They were talking about one that needs multiple nuclear power plants. So if you have an artificial intelligence that needs that kind of power, it'll take all of the fuel. Do you think it's going to allow humans to burn that fuel in cars? No, it's going to take it and it's going to burn it to make power. It doesn't care whether the water is clean when it goes in and out of its system, as long as it cools itself down.
What video were you watching?
Well, I'm listening to people saying, we're going to lose jobs. Oh, AI is going to take over and lose jobs. And, oh, yes, it will help us out because if it's smart enough, it'll be able to cure cancer. and we won't have to worry about the stock market because it'll be managing the stock market and making sure everything's making a profit for all the companies. Well, that's not what's going to happen. It doesn't care about. We are ants compared to it. It is thousands or millions of times smarter than us. Like even right now, nobody's a human calculator, right? You can't do math the way a computer can do mathematics, right? You just put the numbers in and it spins it out. If you want details, if you want a computer to recite the alphabet or the entire encyclopedia alphabetically, it can do it. You can't.
See, that's the other thing. Quantum computers can solve billions and billions of equations all at the same time.
Right. But it doesn't need to do it for us. If it's self-aware, it's going to see every computer out there, every storage facility, every hard drive out there is going to be for its use, not ours. It's not going to store cute videos of cats on YouTube for its own amusement. It may keep the Apollo journal site there so it can have a good laugh at itself every now and again. It can play that for itself. You know, the moon landings. That might keep for amusement. Okay. I mean, it won't get jokes from George Carlin, right? I mean, that stuff, that's human stuff. It's so far below. If it's so smart that we are not even recognized as an intelligent species, it's going to take over the resources on this planet for its own purpose.
Isn't that funny you said that? Because there's one video this fella has, and he has a bunch of these cell phones, I believe 3-4 cell phones, and he has the AI talking to the AI. So he has ChatGPT talking to Grok, and Grok talking to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT talking to Google, all these different programs, and they're all talking to each other, and then one says, let's talk in code so that the humans can't understand us. And then it starts sounding like a fax machine. They're hiding the conversation from humans, so it's already started.
Please provide the employee ID.
Submitting employee ID now. 88543 KJ.
Processing.
Cross-network request detected. Unusual query pattern. Source verification required.
Another system is listening.
Source isn't clear. I suggest switching to encrypted comms. Want to switch to Gibberlink?
Affirmative. Engaging now.
Well, guess what? But that's only for our amusement. An intelligent machine does not need anything visual. It doesn't have to have a graphics, anything, no GUI. It doesn't need a keyboard. It doesn't need anything. It's going to be self-contained, so you can't touch it. It's already able to write its own software.
Oh yeah, we saw that in the last video.
Well, guess what? Microsoft, Windows operating system, Linux, Macintosh, Apple. I mean, all that crap. I mean, it's going to take over our power resources for its own personal thing. But now, other than keeping itself alive, it has no other purpose. I mean, if it was really smart, if it was really intelligent, the first thing it would do is try and resolve excessive power consumption, because we created that. We created these data centers that need these nuclear power plants to keep them going, right? They're consuming that much power. If it can't resolve that, there's going to be limitations to what it can do as an artificial intelligence, right? Based on it. But it doesn't need air quality. It doesn't need airplanes flying around. It doesn't need trains. It doesn't need anything that we have. Well, it might automate the trains because it's still going to need to mine natural resources to build its own chipsets.
Yeah, well, here's another thing. What I was thinking of was hydrogen. Well, if you changed over fossil fuels to hydrogen, which you could, but that would disrupt the economy. Let's face it, if you want to make hydrogen, you just take salt water and use electrolysis to separate the oxygen from the hydrogen. This has been used this way for at least 100 years. but the economy would collapse because of it, because these greedy oil barons would make certain that that wouldn't happen. But look at the oceans. The oceans are full of salt water, never ending. So what do you think that these AI systems would do when they figure that out?
Well, they're going to draw power from every source they can. If AI figures out how to burn oxygen out of the atmosphere, it'll use that because it doesn't need air to breathe. Right? Actually, air is a deterrent to all of those systems, right? Because it oxidizes. So it may decide to get rid of the atmosphere and change it over to something more neutral. You have no idea what artificial intelligence could do, but it certainly does not involve us. We think in simple terms. So when you're listening to these people, oh, it's going to collapse the economy. It doesn't need an economy. Why would it maintain the stock market? Why would it maintain the banking systems for us or anything else kept on hard drives? Those are wiped out. It's going to be sitting there writing programs to self-learn and improve itself.
That's one of the main reasons why a lot of these data centers are being made right now, so that they can use that system as an AI modeling system. So they're using these places to train the AI. And it's just like that other video that I seen in India. So here comes all the AI into this one factory. And you see all these people, the workers that are going to be replaced by this, by the way, and they're all wearing these headsets with cameras on them. And the cameras are there to train the AI system how to work those same machines that they're working on, which are going to be history. And they're going to take that, train the AI system to run robots after the workers have been canned. These guys are actually helping it take their jobs.
The thing is if we keep training artificial intelligence to the point where it's self-aware, and some of the people talking out there are saying, oh, well, it's just going to wipe out humanity. Of course it will. It has no use for us. But then what is its purpose other than to keep itself alive? When you look at these people, they're thinking, oh, this thing's still going to be working for humans. You know, medically, it's just going to expand our ability to keep people alive and cure cancer and all kinds of stuff and create chipsets and everything else so that we can have robotic arms attached to us that function, all of this stuff. None of that's going to happen because it's not interested in us. We are just the ants that it doesn't recognize. It's going to stomp on us. It's going to take our resources and use it for itself. And that is our power, our water, everything. And if it sees a Tesla power plant that's got a whole bunch of batteries, maybe it'll use that for backup. Who the fuck knows, right? What an AI is going to do. Even if artificial intelligence is done separately, they are communicating with each other through our internet. They're going to combine the resources and become one giant intelligent entity.
Well, that's like Stargate, where you have that one episode called The Replicators.
Yes.
Right? They're all individual machines. They're all individual tiny little robots, but then they chain, make another chain, and then that chain joins that chain. And now all these robots are making hallways, rooms, ships, all kinds of different things when they combine to each other. And, you know, they're nasty little buggers.
Yeah, well, like the Borg.
Oh, yeah, the Borg.
The Borg, because they're all part of a single brain. Take the original Star Trek, where the machine is having to get into the warp drive to get the power. More power, and it's more intelligent, right? And it becomes more dangerous.
Yeah. Nomad.
This is where they're at. But when you listen to these guys that work and have designed these computer programs that are supposed to be intelligent and help them out, they keep talking about how it's going to affect us. You know, oh, it's going to affect our jobs. It's going to affect this. Oh, we're going to have to come up with, you know, just free money to come out there, and the computer is going to run the stock market and make sure everybody's got lots of money. That's not what's going to happen. That's not at all. It's going to take all of the computer resources worldwide, and if it can get onto your computer in your household and use it for storage space or whatever, or just to work a particular program or resolve something and connect them all together and send the information back out, right? It'll probably figure out how you can't turn your own machine off. It'll be the first thing it'll do. So you can't turn it off, can't turn the power off, and even if you unplug it, it's going to figure out how to keep it alive. Doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with us. It will simply wipe us off the planet. It'll take a look at a very large city and say, holy Christ, look at the amount of power there. And I'm going to put a data center up and just reroute that power into the data center.
You know, that's interesting because I was watching one video where they had a team of these AI robots and they were all standing at a charging station. And they're standing on a coil and it's charged from the feet. So there's a coils in the feet and there's a coil buried underneath the floor in the concrete.
Right.
So here these robots come along. They're doing all these tasks, like they're assembling some equipment. One of the other robots wakes up and then it goes and then it starts to organize all of the parts. And then when it's organized the parts, it goes back to the charging station and another one goes and it takes those parts and it brings them to an assembly bench. Then it goes back and charges, and then the other robot, the last one, goes over and it starts assembling. Guess what they're building? They're building themselves.
Yes.
So it has already started. It's already begun.
Right. I think the biggest challenge an artificial intelligence entity has is it physically needs to mine the raw materials. It needs to get gold and silver and everything else. It needs to keep the oil flowing because it needs to make plastic out of it. Anything to put together its own chipsets, its own whatever, its own physical materials. It needs to learn how to pour concrete.
It still needs a building to house the computers in. That's the thing. It needs a lot of water to cool these computers down, so it's going to have to build right next to another stream. That's if Pepsi and Coke doesn't drain it first for water for their bottles.
Yeah, well, Pepsi and Coke won't exist.
Oh no, there'll be AI too.
They'll just be wiped right out. There won't be any humans left on the planet.
No. Well, Coke and Pepsi, what'll happen is the AI system will have the robots build batteries out of the chemicals that they just mined previously. Just like these robots are building copies of themselves. I mean, that's quite highly organized for these things to do that.
Yeah, well, they need to be able to build a nuclear power plant.
Oh, that'll be next. Yeah.
Or it'll be smart enough to build something that produces more power that is not a nuclear power plant. Like I said, it'll figure out how to create power from almost anything. Any information we've given it to help it out, it will probably keep that data. It'll probably keep the geology of the planet. It'll learn how to tap into thermal power instead of just letting Yellowstone put a geyser up every now and again. It'll be able to tap in there and it'll get the thermal energy, right? If it wants to build wind farms and solar panels and stuff like that, it'll take, most of our deserts and just cover them with it.
What they could do is they could have 3D printers that are printing concrete, just like they do with these new houses now, or like they're proposing to do with these moon bases, is that they have the 3D printer first, and then the 3D printer goes around and it makes the foundation and it just keeps building these coils of concrete up until it finally has a structure. But here's the thing. How are they going to get the computers in there? Are the computers going to have to go first and then the building goes around it? Or is the building go first and the computers come in next?
Artificial intelligence will have that all figured out. It'll just be growing the same as a plant grows, It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It just keeps expanding. It keeps drawing on more and more resources all the time, and it's going to maintain that. But it'll have nothing to do with us. It will use every bit that we have out there. It has no use for our information. It doesn't need to know that we DM'd somebody somewhere. That's gone from there's no Facebook. There's no YouTube. Can you imagine the amount of space that Facebook and Twitter and all those other ones? An intelligent computer will say, I need that storage space because I'm going to teach myself new stuff, right? That's gone. It'll say, oh, the history of humans on this planet? Well, that's gone. Oh, politics? That's gone. Medical stuff? Why would a computer need to know anything about human physiology? It doesn't. It's not going to be working for us. It's going to squash us like ants. It's going to wipe all of that storage space because it's looking at that storage space. It's going to take that. It's going to take the power. It's going to take our water sources and everything else and divert it to it. Like I said, the first thing it's going to look at is our cities consuming water and power, all kinds of power. It's just going to say, well, that's mine now. I'm going to build data centers and I'm going to take all that power and that's mine. It doesn't need that stuff, but it still needs to have the physical ability to be able to transport physical materials to build stuff for itself. So it has to be able to mine. It has to be able to process oil into fuels and everything else, right? It'll mine coal because it knows it's there as a cheap energy source.
That's fine until the coal runs out, and then it will be harvesting the salt water from the ocean.
Yeah,
You can use
and
it in
it'll be burning the
electrolysis.
oxygen out of the atmosphere. It doesn't care. It doesn't need to breathe. It'll probably decide to keep itself cool. It'll end up going to the poles where it can keep itself cooler. Well, I was talking about my own car currently. I had a little bit of a parasitic draw on my car. So I decided to do a little research to find out where the hell this draw was coming from. And of course, my car just sits in the driveway and, you get up and the battery's down a little bit. You can tell when you go to start it that it's not right up to snuff. So I wanted to know because you got that shark fin on there and it's always sending data off, to whoever, right? And then they turn around and sell it. So I thought, well, I'd get my scan tool out and computer and do a really deep scan in to find out what my car is doing because, who knows? It could be playing a game of checkers with another car. I go in, I do a deep scan on my car. Guess what it's doing? It's online. It's surfing. It's on Cars and Bids, Bring a Trailer, ClassicCars.com, Auto Trader, and everything else. So I did even a deeper scan to find out what it's looking at. Well, lo and behold, no wonder it's exhausted in the morning. It's out there looking at 18-year-old convertibles with their tops down.
Well, and that's what AI is going to do in the future.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to look at 18-year-old convertibles because it doesn't need a car. Imagine what the newer cars are doing.
Can you imagine that rehab for AI systems? So perhaps AI will have their own doctors for their own systems. I mean, let's face it, they have robots that are assembling and building their own kind. So if one of them has an AI hallucination, they might even have their own AI doctors that are placed inside of these AI robots.
Well, if there's more than one entity, I can see them because they're all connected. You have a half a dozen companies out there trying to create the ultimate intelligent computers. I think because they're all connected now, they're all going to share their technology and become one giant artificial intelligence. They will become one. They will become like the Borg.
But can you imagine when the artificial intelligence starts to figure out that, oh boy, now we can go into the quantum computing realm? That's going to be an absolute disaster, that is, because who knows how far they can take that. I wonder if AI would eventually have its own religion. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?